We have 7 weeks behind us, so let's turn our attention to week 8 and talk 5 moves to make for Dynasty. Move number 1, it is time to load up on backup quarterbacks. Usually that's not a fun proposition. However, I think there's some interesting names in here that are worthwhile and need to be on rosters moving forward. So at the top of that list is a pair of quarterbacks. You have Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Jameis Winston, who now need to be rostered, basically in every single Superflex league. The reason being, Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles. He is out for the year. His entire career is probably in jeopardy given how bad he played. Last week, we talked about adding Jameis. I still think he's the best quarterback of the two, but he was an inactive quarterback heading into week 7. DTR was the named backup. Now, Watson got hurt. DTR got hurt after throwing 2 interceptions and then injuring his finger. So Jameis still ended up playing, but he was the emergency quarterback. Who actually gives you the best chance for fantasy? It's Jameis for sure. Who gives you the best chance to accomplish what the Browns want, which is losing? It's probably Dorian Thompson-Robinson. In addition to that, Alex O'Connell also left, broke his thumb, is the report. Should miss 4 to 6 weeks. That means Gardner Minshew, once starter, turned back up, is once again the starter. He was dropped and is available in over 50% of leagues, so he needs to be added. And to close it out, Marcus Mariota. Now, admittedly, this is not fun. This is not exciting because that means Jaden Daniels is hurt. He left with a rib injury and the game was way out of hand. It's not even a guarantee Mariota ever gets to start a game, but in the off chance he misses time, I'm talking Jaden Daniels. If he misses time, even 1 week, Mariota has to be rostered and could be a fill-in heading into week 8 if you're in desperate need of a quarterback given all the injuries. Move number 2. You have to go and add Cedric Tillman. Now, he was a forgotten wide receiver after being drafted in the 3rd round just last season and basically doing nothing with the Browns. But with Amari Cooper gone, hopefully improvement with quarterback play with Deshaun Watson now hurt, Cedric Tillman kind of surges up into relevancy on the outside for the Cleveland Browns. He pulls in 12 targets, 8 receptions for 81 yards. Spectacular. But again, you can't just ignore that he was truly, truly terrible last season. So if I'm able to scoop him off of waivers and he's available in over 50% of leagues, if I'm able to scoop him off of waivers, he's a player I'm actually okay maybe holding for a week or 2 and then trying to flip, because I don't think long-term Cedric Tillman is going to be a fantasy superstar. That could be the case. We liked him out of college, but the data points to him probably having a very mediocre career. So tread carefully when adding Cedric Tillman and then maybe, thinking about trusting him moving forward. That's probably a dangerous proposition. Our 3rd move, we are going to add Mason Tipton. And you might be thinking, who the hell is Mason Tipton? What team does he play for? Similar to Bub Means last week when we asked the same question, he is also on the Saints. However, he was not drafted. He was an undrafted free agent. So why do I care about Mason Tipton? Why do I want to add him? Well, for starters, he led the team in targets last week. I think that's notable. 2, his snap share jumped from a 33% snap share all the way up to 83%. Now, that's because Chris Olave was out. It was also because Rashid Shaheed was out. And I think that's more consequential for Mason Tipton, right? I think with Olave being out, that favors Bub Means. But given that Mason Tipton has that 4.3 speed, has been playing and seeing deep shots routinely during his rookie season, I think Shaheed landing on IR, his season being over, is actually a nod to Tipton seeing increased usage in this offense. Look, Chris Olave's coming back. Bub Means probably gets relegated to the wide receiver 3 role, and I think Tipton might be the most interesting wide receiver not named Chris Olave moving forward in this offense. And our 4th move, we are selling Davante Adams. And this is not because I think he's going to be a monumental bust in New York. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to let that happen. But look, he's 31 years old. He has been steadily declining as a player in terms of production, just on-field metrics, etc. Whatever you want to look at. Davante Adams is not the guy he used to be. Aaron Rodgers is not the guy he used to be. But there are still people out there that are expecting Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers to rekindle, their love, their production, all the good things that they want for the rest of the season. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think you're getting top 10 Davante Adams. And I've seen people throw that out there as like, this is the expectation for the rest of the season. I think that's unreasonable. It's unrealistic. Over the last 21 games, so through this season, 2024 and 2023, Davante Adams has finished as a wide receiver 1 5 times. In 2022, he was a wide receiver 1 8 times. He's not the same player. And quarterback play in those periods obviously varies and definitely affects this. But it's just not the case for Davante Adams anymore. You can go out there, you can trade him for somebody like Amari Cooper, who's a year younger, has a better quarterback, and has a better situation because he's not going to fight with Garrett Wilson for targets. I think if I could trade Davante Adams for Amari Cooper and a pick, I'm doing that. If I could trade him for Mike Evans straight up, I'm doing that as well. People are high on Davante Adams, even with the dud in week 1 or with his first week with the Jets. But look, those are contender to contender trades. I even think you could go out and maybe not get a late first, but what's projected to be an early second or multiple seconds, or even like a Ladd McConkey level wide receiver. I think those are realistic trades if you're trying to go, ship him off to a contending roster and you're rebuilding. So you have a couple different avenues, but I do not want Davante Adams on my team because I think he's a mid to low end wide receiver too, and the value you're going to get back long term is going to be more beneficial than what Davante Adams gives you on the field. And to close us out, I am buying David Njoku. Now, I did not mean to have 3 Browns level tasks or moves in this video, but that's the way this has worked out because Deshaun Watson basically having his season ended, career ended potentially, is good for the Browns pass catchers, along with the Amari Cooper trade. All of those things are good for the remaining Browns pass catchers. If Jameis Winston wins this job, David Njoku is a top 3 tight end the rest of the season. He's the best receiving weapon they have left. He's better than Jerry Jeudy. He's better than Elijah Moore. He's better than Cedric Tillman. I don't think anybody's really going to argue that. If it is Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I still think he's probably a top 6 tight end rest of season. And it's just because the volume is going to be there. Now, the quality of the volume is what's ultimately going to bleed to him being a very good play or the best play possible at the tight end position moving forward. He had 14 targets this week. That may not be the norm, but 8+ on a week in, week out basis is extremely likely. The quality of target should increase. And he has the easiest schedule remaining of any tight end in football. It's like him, Brock Bowers are 2 guys that are just going to run rampant the rest of the season at the tight end position and could be absolute league winners. So I want David Njoku on my rosters as a contender. A trade that I've seen that I think is really, really interesting. You can flip Sam Laporta for David Njoku and multiple seconds. You might even be able to get David Njoku in first. Look, Sam Laporta's been bad this year. He's been very bad. But his rookie season is still fresh in people's minds. He may not be the tight end 1 overall anymore like he was coming into the season, but he's still widely considered a top 4 tight end, a top 3 tight end. So if that's the case and I can scale back to Njoku and add additional draft capital for a wide receiver, for a tight end that is trending in the wrong direction, that is something I'm interested in.